So in this lecture, we're going to look at the example of the popover. And to follow with me, you're going to go under the section Popover. And right now, without any further ado, we're going to make a quick live demo. So here is our popover on the right, in which we have a title and some content. Below, we have examples of the different directions that we can use. So on the left, top, bottom, and right. And below again, we can see examples of buttons that we can use to trigger the popover action. And inside, we can recognize the data attribute. This one is to indicate the action of popover. Next, you have the data attributes, which is going to indicate the position of the popover, which can be left, top, bottom, and right. Coming next, you have data contents that includes the text which will be displayed whenever you hover over the button. Here we have our example for the left, and also we're gonna trigger the example for the one on the top. So this is what we should read. And for our demonstration using our template, we want to add popover actions to these Learn More buttons inside the product information section. So we're going to start by using the same code. So for that, we're going to grab all the data attributes. We're going to go back to our template under the product information section and find those Learn More links. And inside of those anchor tags, we're going to paste the data attributes. It's not quite done yet, so what we're going to do is change the different options. So this one from left to top, and we're going to change also the content. And write, this is a popover demo. Also, we're going to add another attribute, and this one will be title. For the title, we're going to write popover.js. Back to our template, we're going to check out the results. We're going to make a demonstration by clicking on Learn More. And looks like it worked. We have our popover, which is showing on the top. We have a title and also the content. Although you've noticed that when we clicked on this button, we were sent to the top of this page, and this is the regular default behavior of a link. So let's reload the page and do that one more time. So you're going to see that when we click on the button again, that's going to send us straight to the top of the page. Here it is, and this is the default behavior of a link with no target in it. Because even if you have no locations to send by clicking on a button, the behavior of the browser will be to send you to the top of the page. And in order to prevent that, we need to add some code inside the script. You'll find these lines of codes under the sections for the popover.js. And what we did basically is to trigger an action or a non-actions to happen whenever we click on this button. And this action will be attached to a class pop-up message, so we'll need to add this class inside our markup. And the way this works is that the function of prevent default will be active on the event of a click. So this is the prevent default, to which we've added a return false in order to prevent the default behavior of a link. And we want these functions to occur to fire off on a click event to a div with the class of pop-up message. So we're going to go ahead on the markup and add this class to our div next to thumbnail. And now we're going to see how this works by reloading the page. So whenever we click on the button, we're going to see what happens. Okay, so looks like the popover action is working without seeing the page jumping to the top. We're going to do the same for the other button that we have under the product information section by copying and pasting. Here we go. So now we have a popover working on both buttons. So whenever we click on them, we have a popover message showing up. The normal behavior of the popover is to stay visible until you click again in order to make it disappear. So there are different options that we can use in order to control the behavior. And here is the baseline function of code that we're going to use inside our template. So this is here available in our script. And inside I put a command to indicate that we can add different options in order to change the functionality of the Popover plugin. First, we're going to look at the option object delay, which is going to control the amount of time that a popover will take to show or to hide. And we already have an example that we're going to simply copy from the Bootstrap site. Here it is, and we're going to change the value to 1/5 of a millisecond, which corresponds to 200 microseconds. So that's going to show very quickly, although we would like for the popover to take much longer in order to hide. So we're going to write 1 millisecond. And so we're going to see now how this works. So we're going to reload the page. Then we're going to click, shows right away. We're going to move to the next button. And also we're going to see that as soon as we click back on this button to make the popover disappear, that's going to take much longer to disappear, to hide, about 1 second. Here we go, so let's try that as well with the next buttons. We click, it shows right away, and then we click again, and it's taking about 1 second to hide. There is another approach that we can use in order to have the popover to show by a hover event. And by hovering over the button, the user will see the popover showing. So we're going to see the options for the trigger. And how a popover is triggered can be with a click, a hover, focus, and manual. So we're going to use the hover example. Back to our template, inside the script, we're going to add another option object for trigger. And inside quotes, we're going to write hover. So let's see how this works in the browser. We're going to reload the page first. We don't see the popover, and as soon as we mouse over, we see the popover showing quickly, and it's going to take another second to hide. So let's check for the other button. It's showing up quickly, and then it takes a second to disappear. So by looking at the Bootstrap documentation again under Options, we're going to see that we can use different options object in order to control the behavior of the popover. We find options that can be used either by using data attributes or options that can be used inside the JavaScript script. Like the options of the placement. For example, we could certainly add another option object here inside the script for the placement and ask that we want the popover to show at the bottom. And this will override the information that we used by using the data attribute. So here it is, we can see that whenever we hover over the Learn More buttons, we have the popover that are showing at the bottoms.